You have been waking up at the same time every morning for as long as you can remember. The routine is automatic. The kettle goes on before your eyes are fully open. The coffee brews while you stand at the window looking at nothing in particular. You carry your cup to your favorite chair and sit in the quiet before the day begins. That ritual has been yours for decades. It belongs to you. And for most of your life, it felt like exactly enough. But somewhere in the last few years, something began to change around the edges of that routine. The grocery bags started feeling heavier than they used to. The stairs started asking more of your legs than they once did. Standing up from that familiar chair began requiring a moment of preparation that was never needed before. And like most people, you told yourself the same thing that millions of people tell themselves every single day. This is simply what getting older feels like. But here is what nobody told you. What you have been experiencing is not just the passage of time. It is a specific biological process that has a specific biological solution. The fatigue you feel in the morning, despite a full night of sleep, is not random. The strength that has been quietly leaving your body over the years is not gone forever. The physical independence you once took completely for granted is not something that belongs only to your past. It is something your body is still capable of rebuilding. And the place where that rebuilding begins, the window of opportunity that most people never think to use, is the very first thing you do each morning. The human body is one of the most sophisticated repair systems that has ever existed. Every single night while you sleep, it is working. Old cells are being broken down, damaged tissue is being cleared away, repair signals are being sent from one part of the body to another, and every single morning when you wake up, your body enters a state of high readiness. It is primed to absorb. It is ready to receive. The digestive system has rested overnight and is operating at its most efficient. Blood flow is directed toward absorption. Every system that processes nutrients is alert and waiting. That morning window is not just the beginning of your day, it is the most powerful nutritional opportunity your body offers you in a 24-hour period. And most people spend it on coffee alone. There is nothing wrong with coffee. Coffee has real benefits. It contains antioxidants. It supports alertness. It has been part of human culture for centuries, and there are good reasons for that. But coffee alone is stimulation. It activates your nervous system. It borrows energy from your reserves and delivers it into your morning. And when those reserves are already running low, which happens progressively as the body ages, that borrowed energy runs out faster than it used to. The midday crash that so many people experience is not a personal weakness. It is the predictable result of a body that has been stimulated without being fueled. Stimulation and fuel are completely different things. And understanding that difference is the first step toward changing everything. Fuel means delivering the raw materials your body needs to produce real, sustained energy from within. It means giving your cells what they require to do the work of rebuilding and repairing throughout the day. It means arriving at noon with the same steady physical presence you had at 8 in the morning. Not because you had another cup of coffee, but because your body has what it needs to sustain itself. That kind of energy does not crash. It does not borrow from tomorrow. It builds on itself day after day as the nutritional foundation beneath it grows stronger. To understand why this matters so deeply for people above 60, you need to understand what is happening inside the body during this stage of life. There is a process called sarcopenia. It is the gradual loss of muscle mass and muscle function that accelerates significantly after the age of 60. It does not announce itself. There is no pain in the early stages, no single dramatic event. There is only the slow accumulation of small losses. You lift something and notice it takes more effort. You walk a distance you have walked hundreds of times and feel it more in your legs. You sit for an hour and stand up feeling stiff in a way that surprises you. Each of these moments feels minor on its own, but together they are telling you something important about what is happening beneath the surface. Muscle tissue is being broken down faster than it is being rebuilt. The protein synthesis process, the biological mechanism by which your body constructs new muscle fiber, becomes less efficient with age. The hormonal signals that used to trigger muscle repair after physical activity begin to fade. Inflammation, which is a natural and necessary part of tissue repair, starts to linger longer than it should. Instead of arriving, doing its job, and resolving, it persists. And persistent, low-grade inflammation actively interferes with the rebuilding process. It consumes resources, it slows recovery, and it creates a cycle where the harder your body tries to repair, the more interference it encounters. What breaks that cycle is not medication, it is not rest alone, it is not even exercise alone, though movement is an extraordinarily valuable partner in this process. What breaks the cycle is targeted, consistent, daily nutrition that directly addresses each part of the problem. Protein for construction, specific amino acids that activate the muscle-building pathway, anti-inflammatory compounds that clear the interference, minerals that support the nervous system signals controlling muscle function, nutrients that restore cellular energy production. When these things arrive together, consistently, in a form the body can absorb efficiently, the cycle begins to reverse, not dramatically, not overnight, but steadily and powerfully. Protein is where every conversation about rebuilding muscle must begin. Your muscles are made of protein. Every single fiber is constructed from amino acids that can only come from your diet. Your body cannot manufacture them from nothing. And here is the part that most people do not know. After 60, your body actually requires more protein per kilogram of body weight than it did when you were in your 30s and 40s. Not less, more. The efficiency of protein utilization decreases with age, which means you need a greater supply arriving regularly just to achieve the same result. Yet research consistently shows that older adults consume significantly less protein than they need. That gap between what the body requires and what it receives is one of the primary drivers of the strength loss, the fatigue, and the physical decline that people experience. Within the broad category of protein, there is one amino acid that plays a uniquely critical role in muscle building. That amino acid is leucine. Leucine is what scientists call a signaling molecule. When leucine arrives in sufficient quantity, it directly activates a biological pathway called mTOR, the master switch for muscle protein synthesis. Without enough leucine, the construction workers inside your muscles receive no activation signal. The materials might be present, but nobody told them to start building. Ensuring that your morning nutrition includes leucine-rich protein sources is one of the most targeted and effective strategies for rebuilding strength in the aging body. Creatine is a compound that the body produces naturally and also receives from certain foods, particularly meat. Its role in energy production is fundamental. Creatine helps regenerate ATP, adenosine triphosphate, which is the primary fuel molecule that every cell in your body uses for work. When your muscles are performing any kind of physical task, they burn through ATP rapidly. Creatine is what allows them to replenish that ATP quickly enough to sustain effort. When creatine levels are adequate, you experience more consistent energy during physical activity, faster recovery afterward, and a meaningfully greater capacity to build strength over time. The research on creatine in older adults is among the most consistently positive in the field of nutritional science. Study after study confirms that it supports muscle mass, physical performance, and even cognitive function in people above 60. Collagen peptides represent another extraordinary addition to a morning routine. Collagen is the structural protein that forms the framework of your muscles, tendons, ligaments, skin, and connective tissue. It is the most abundant protein in the human body. And after 60, the rate at which your body produces new collagen drops significantly every year. The result is joints that feel less cushioned and more vulnerable to discomfort, muscles that feel less supported during movement, connective tissue that takes longer to recover from even gentle physical activity. When you consume collagen peptides in the morning, particularly with a source of vitamin C which is essential for collagen synthesis, you are delivering the exact amino acid building blocks your body needs to restore these structures. The improvement in joint comfort, movement quality, And recovery time that people experience from consistent collagen peptide consumption is one of the most frequently reported benefits among older adults who make this change. Magnesium is involved in more than 300 enzymatic reactions in the human body. That number alone tells you something about how fundamental it is to almost every biological process you depend on. For physical health specifically, magnesium regulates muscle contraction and relaxation. It supports the nerve signals that control movement. It plays a central role in the production of ATP, meaning it directly affects energy levels at the cellular level. It also regulates the quality and depth of sleep, which is one of the most critical factors in overnight tissue repair and recovery. Magnesium deficiency is extraordinarily common in older adults. The symptoms of deficiency, muscle weakness, fatigue, poor sleep, increased anxiety, and reduced physical performance, are so widely experienced that they are routinely dismissed as normal aging. They are not normal, they are correctable. And addressing magnesium status consistently is one of the foundational steps in reclaiming physical vitality. Vitamin D functions more like a hormone than a typical vitamin. It regulates the expression of hundreds of genes throughout the body, including those responsible for muscle function, immune regulation, and inflammatory control. Low vitamin D levels are directly and consistently associated with muscle weakness, reduced grip strength, poor physical performance, and increased risk of falls in older adults. The connection between vitamin D and muscle health is not subtle. It is one of the strongest nutritional associations in gerontological research. Because vitamin D is primarily synthesized through sun exposure, and because many older adults spend significant portions of their time indoors, deficiency is widespread. Ensuring adequate vitamin D through dietary sources and targeted supplementation is not optional for people who want to maintain physical strength and independence. It is essential. Omega-3 fatty acids work on a different dimension of this problem. While protein and creatine and collagen peptides support construction, omega-3 fats address the inflammatory environment in which that construction has to happen. When inflammation is chronically elevated, as it is in the majority of people over 60 who are not actively managing it, the repair process is constantly being disrupted. Omega-3 fats, found abundantly in fatty fish, walnuts, and flax seeds, reduce the production of pro-inflammatory signaling molecules in the body. They create a calmer internal environment where tissue repair can proceed without constant interference. People who begin consuming adequate omega-3 fats consistently report reduced joint stiffness, faster recovery from physical activity, improved mood, and better overall energy. These are not separate, unrelated benefits. They are all expressions of the same underlying change. Inflammation is reducing, and the body is recovering more efficiently. Now walk through what actually happens when all of these nutrients begin arriving consistently in the morning. In the first several days, the most noticeable change is in energy. The afternoon crash begins to soften. You reach 2 or 3 in the afternoon and realize you have not needed another cup of coffee to keep going. This is not the result of stimulation. This is the result of cellular energy production beginning to normalize. Your mitochondria, the energy-producing structures inside every cell, are receiving what they need to function properly. The energy they produce is real and sustained. It does not spike and drop, it maintains. During the second week, sleep quality begins to improve for many people. This is largely the magnesium effect. When magnesium levels improve, the nervous system is better able to transition into the deep restorative stages of sleep that are responsible for the majority of overnight tissue repair. And when sleep quality improves, the cascade of benefits that follow is significant. Growth hormone, which is released primarily during deep sleep and is one of the primary triggers for muscle repair, becomes more available. Recovery between days becomes more complete. You wake up feeling like the night actually restored something rather than simply passing. By the third and fourth week, physical strength begins to show measurable improvement. Tasks that required concentrated effort start to feel more routine. Walking feels lighter. Standing up from seated positions requires less deliberate effort. Carrying things feels more manageable. These changes are the result of muscle protein synthesis beginning to operate more efficiently. The construction workers inside your muscle tissue are receiving consistent supplies of leucine, amino acids, and supporting nutrients. They are building, and the results of that building are beginning to accumulate in ways your body can feel. Balance improves alongside strength in a way that surprises many people. The connection is direct and important. Your balance depends not only on the strength of the muscles that stabilize your joints, but on the precision of the neuromuscular signals your nervous system sends to those muscles in real time. When your muscles are well nourished and recovering properly, those signals become cleaner. The communication between your brain and your body becomes more reliable. You plant your feet with more confidence on uneven surfaces. You move through your home without the unconscious micro-calculations that had quietly become part of every step. The sense of physical security that returns during this period is one of the changes people find most meaningful. Circulation is a factor in this transformation that deserves its own attention. Every nutrient you consume has to travel through your bloodstream to reach the tissues that need it. When circulation is sluggish, which is common in older adults who are less active and whose cardiovascular systems have been under-supported nutritionally, delivery of those nutrients is inefficient. Certain foods and nutrients directly support circulatory health. Beetroot and leafy greens rich in nitrates support the production of nitric oxide, which relaxes and widens blood vessels. Vitamin K supports healthy vascular function. Omega-3 fats reduce the viscosity of blood and improve flow. As circulation improves, nutrient delivery improves with it. The entire rebuilding process becomes more efficient. Every other positive change accelerates. The emotional dimension of this physical transformation is something that does not get discussed nearly enough. When physical strength begins to return, something shifts in how a person sees themselves. The quiet withdrawal that happens when physical limitations accumulate. The decision to let someone else carry the heavy thing, to take the elevator instead of the stairs, to sit out the activity rather than attempt it, begins to reverse. Not because someone told you to try harder, but because your body genuinely feels more capable. The willingness to engage with life physically returns naturally when the physical capacity to do so is restored. Confidence is not a mindset that you adopt independently of your body. It is deeply connected to what your body can actually do. Independence is perhaps the most precious thing that physical vitality protects. The ability to manage your own daily life, to shop, to cook, to move through your own home and your own neighborhood without requiring assistance, is something that defines quality of life more profoundly than almost anything else in the later years. And the research is absolutely clear that nutritional status is one of the primary determinants of whether that independence is maintained or lost. People who consistently meet their nutritional needs in the specific ways that support muscle mass, joint health, and energy production remain physically independent significantly longer than those who do not. This is not a minor finding at the margins of the research. It is one of the central conclusions of gerontological nutrition science. What makes the morning drink approach so powerful is not just what it delivers nutritionally. It is the consistency that a ritual makes possible. Human beings are creatures of habit. When a behavior is attached to an existing routine, one that already happens automatically, every single day, without requiring a decision, adherence becomes natural rather than effortful. You do not have to remember to do it. You do not have to motivate yourself. You simply extend the ritual you already have by 5 minutes. And in those 5 minutes, you deliver a complete, targeted package of rebuilding nutrition to a body that is at its most receptive. Over weeks and months, the cumulative effect of that daily consistency becomes extraordinary. The person who began this story waking up stiff and heavy and dependent on caffeine to feel functional is not a fixed identity. It is a temporary state created by a specific nutritional deficit. Fill that deficit consistently. Support the systems that rebuild muscle and reduce inflammation and restore cellular energy. Do it every morning in the simplest, most accessible way possible. And watch as the heavy grocery bags become manageable again. Watch as the stairs stop feeling like a calculation. Watch as the chair you sit in each morning becomes a place you rise from, with ease rather than effort. Watch as the life you want to be living becomes the life you are actually living, in a body that is stronger, more energized, and more capable than it has been in years. That transformation is not reserved for other people. It is available to you. It begins tomorrow morning, and it begins with one decision that takes less than 5 minutes to make.